Tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool? One thing can lead to another. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother and sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will do as I say. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide. This is widely known. And what you plan to do with your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone. Once you tell somebody the way that you feel, you can feel it beginning to ease. I think it's true what they say about the squeaky wheel always getting the grease. It's better to shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be just fine if you only will. What I'm trying to say to you, shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. Shower the people. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. They say in every life, they say the rain must fall. Make it rain. Love, 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 sunshine. Make it rain. Love, 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 sunshine. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Everybody. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. You know that things are gonna be much better if you only will. Thank you.
Good morning, Cincinnati. all of our beloved UUs gathered together in one place on a Sunday morning. It is great to see you all. And if you are just aching to be closer to the pulpit, we have a whole jury box here that's almost empty, so we have more space for you if you would like. We're going to start by centering ourselves with the sound of our singing bowl. So welcome to First Unitarian Church, Cincinnati. I'm Alexander Riegel. I am the developmental minister here at First Church, ending my second year with this beloved community. And it is heartwarming to see so many UUs gathered together today to remind us all that we may be a minority, but we are a significant and meaningful minority. Our mission here at First Church is to welcome all with love, to support learning and spiritual growth, to serve our wider community, and to work for justice, equity, and inclusion. Unitarian Universalist churches are places where you are free to be you. You are free to be you no matter the color of your skin, no matter whom you love, no matter your gender, no matter your age, no matter your socioeconomic status, no matter where your spiritual journey is going to take you. So bring your questioning mind, your expansive heart, bring your entire self to our beloved communities. Please make sure to read the announcements and inserts in today's order of service, where you can find important information regarding accommodations and upcoming events. And if you are visiting with us today, we especially welcome you. Please feel free to join us for coffee hour following the service, which will take place in our fellowship hall, and the ushers or any member of the church can direct you there. We would love to have a chance to get to know you better and also tell you a bit about our beloved community. Our flowers this morning are dedicated by Dick and Linda Miltner in honor of Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, all of you mothers, within our walls and watching on YouTube. We do need to take a moment to do just a little bit of service specific to First Church this morning. We need about 2 minutes to deal with a developmental goal team matter. So Nancy Sawyer, could you come forward, please?
Good morning. I'm Nancy Sawyer with the First Unitarian Congregation in Cincinnati, the Developmental Ministry Goals Team. So those of you from Heritage and St. John's, just hold on for a second. Our congregation started its developmental ministry in the fall of 2023. Since that time, our team has had, we have set our goals, and we've offered 2 in-person congregational conversations to both inform you about the work that we're doing, but also to receive feedback from you. Now, we realize that not all members can go to those sessions, and not all members actually speak at those sessions. So, our team, with the input from the board and also specific committee chairs, have developed a survey to reach a larger swath of our community to hear back from you. The survey will also give us direction about other work that needs to be done, and it will help us quantify where our congregation is at. All members should receive an email early this afternoon with a link to the online survey. We do prefer that you do the survey online because it's easier for us to analyze the data that way, but we realize that there are people in our congregation who just don't do online stuff. So we do have paper copies. Ramona and I will be at a table out in the sanctuary after service with paper copies. A couple of details to know about the survey. The survey will not be anonymous. Our team believes that if we are a healthy congregation, we should be able to communicate respectfully and constructively with each other. The other important thing is the deadline is June 1st, so please respond sooner than later. And if you have questions, come see Ramona and me after service. Thank you.
All right, so before we begin our service officially, we want to take a moment and wave to the people watching on YouTube. And then rise and greet our neighbors, or if you're on YouTube, say hello in the chat. And the way we call you back to your seats is I will hit the singing bowl very loudly, so there's no mistake about it. But take a few minutes and say hello.
How do you get a whole bunch of Unitarian Universalists from a whole bunch of different churches to sit down and be quiet? That is Alex's conundrum just now. You offer them some opening words. These are the words of Krista Flanagan. What if everything always went according to plan? At first, we might accomplish more of what we think we need to accomplish. And it might seem less stressful, being able to anticipate what is going to happen next. But after a certain amount of time, and that amount would definitely vary from person to person, the once comfortable predictability would become less comfortable and eventually even boring. If we always know what happens next, we lose the joy of surprise, of serendipitous experiences, of the excitement that comes from anticipating the unknown. Therefore, friends, let us always be gathered with open, curious hearts, ready to explore the unpredictable, to learn from its wisdom, and to embrace its beauty.
Our chalice lighting today is by Julianne Lepp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. You're invited to join in singing our first hymn, number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me, and ignore the instructions below that.
I'm Bill Gupton. I'm the minister at Heritage Universalist Unitarian Church in Anderson Township. And we are here today, among other things, to experience some of one another's worship traditions and energy. So we would like to share with you our congregational covenant and invite you to all read together. Even the heritage section, which I notice is sitting very together over here on my right, we'll see there's a word or two different here because we're talking plural churches this morning. So you're going to, everyone, this should be new for in some way or another. So let's say together our heritage covenant. Love is the spirit of our churches. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and the service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
I get to tell the story for all ages today. which is awesome because I love this story. Here's the thing, though. I need help to tell it. And I'll tell you kids a secret. Sometimes grown-ups can be a little bit shy about speaking out in church, about, being kind of loud. So you think you can help encourage them to be louder? They're laughing, so maybe it's working. So this is a story. You're welcome to come sit or sit where you are. Absolutely. Anybody who would like to can come forward. Headphones work too. Some of my congregants wish they had headphones. So this is a story about a mountain, about a little village that was nestled up against a mountain long ago and far away, or maybe yesterday and just around the corner. And way high up on this mountain was carved the words, "The answer is no." So I'm going to need you all to be a mountain. Can you say in a real deep voice, "The answer is no"? The answer is no. Excellent, mountain. So one day, Ma Custis, she was trying to decide what to make for dinner. Have your parents ever had that problem? Sometimes, never, just it varies. So she went out and she looked up at the mountain. She said, "Should I make liver for dinner?" And the mountain said, "The answer is no." Do you guys agree with that? You fans of liver? No, not really. What about you all? Liver fans? A couple of you, but most of you no. And so she said, "Okay, well, nobody really likes liver anyway. How about tacos for dinner?" And the mountain said, "The answer is no." Okay, what about tofu? And the mountain said, "The answer is no." You're picking up on the theme here, aren't you? And she said, "Well, what about pizza or pasta or popcorn or pickles?" And the mountain said, "The answer is no." Bill really didn't like something in that list. And so this went on all night until finally the next morning, Ma Custis made liver for breakfast because that was the first thing she had thought of. And her family was not happy. So finally she decided something has to change. This just isn't working. And she stomped down to the center of town and she rang a bell, but it was really heavy, so I'm gonna need your help. Pull the bell string. Oh. Okay, somebody make bell sounds. Nice. And everybody came running. From the oldest man to the youngest child still carried in somebody's arms. And Ma Custis said, "Why does this mountain always have to say the answer is no? Couldn't it say the answer is yes sometimes?" Well, the answer is no. Fair response. People, you should. The answer is pizza. Frankly, also a fair response. But the people started talking about it, the idea of change, and they mumbled to each other. Nice. And they tried to decide, and eventually people started nodding, and they're like, "Okay." And Mason Carver, the stone carver, he came up and he said, "Well, yeah, okay, I can climb up there and I can recarve the mountain. It'll take me a couple weeks." And every day for 2 weeks, he went up there, climbed up on the mountain and worked on it. And pretty soon, it was done. And so he came down and he rang that heavy bell. Ugh. Yeah, pull the bell string. There we go. And everybody came running. Perfect. From the oldest woman with the whitest hair to the littlest baby still held in their mother's arms. And he said, "Here it is. The mountain says the answer is yes." So Ma Custis came forward and she said, okay, I'll try this out, because she was the one who spotted the problem in the first place. And she said, should I make liver for dinner? And the mountain said, the answer is yes. And she said, you're kidding me, but I promised I would never make liver again. Are you saying I should break my promise? And the mountain said, the answer is yes. And so Ma Custis turned back to the town people and she said, this just isn't going to work. What are we going to do? So they started to talk to each other again. And eventually, the littlest Custis kid, who really didn't want to have liver for dinner, said, why does it have to say yes or no? Why couldn't the mountain say the answer is sometimes yes, and sometimes no, and sometimes maybe, and sometimes I just don't know? And people talked about that for a little bit. And then they decided they liked that idea. Now, Mason Carver, who had just finished, it's like, oh, well, I suppose I can do that, but it'll take longer, and I won't be able to work on it every day. So they agreed. And he started going up there, and at first it was every day, but then started slowing down. He had other work he needed to do. And for a while, people eagerly waited for the change, but then they started asking each other and coming up with solutions to problems together and asking one another questions. And eventually, they decided to just leave the temporary sign on the mountain. So now, when people look up from that small village, they see the answer is under construction.
How Unitarian Universalist can a story get? I love that's great. So our young folks are invited to head to Sunday school class, and we will sing them out with our recessional.
Today's responsive reading is from Rilke's Letters to a Young Poet, translated by Stephen Mitchell. I will read the first line and then invite you to read aloud the second line, and we alternate lines thereafter. Have patience with everything unresolved in your heart. As if they were locked rooms. Don't search for the answers, because you would not be able to live them. Live the questions now. You will gradually, without even noticing it,
So we'll be passing the offering plate this morning. Dan Schneider, would you come up and introduce who's going to receive our offering plate today? Thank you.
Okay. Today's Share the Plate offering will go to the Unitarian Universalist Council of Greater Cincinnati. As a former president of the UU Council, I can assure you the money we collect today will be put to good use. The UU Council is active each year in participating in the Pride Parade and Festival and in the Festival of Faiths, both happening next month, and we have expenses associated with both. We also have a Pride table outside the sanctuary if you want to learn more and get involved. This year, we continued our anti-racism circles using the Building the World We Dream About curriculum with the participation of approximately 80 local UUs since 2021. Last year, we were fortunately able to apply for and receive a Dismantling White Supremacy grant from the UU Mid-America region, and that grant helped us pay for our Deeper Than the Skin guest presenters, Reggie Harris and Greg Greenway. The weekend included a musical and spoken Saturday presentation on race attended by 84 people at St. John's. That was and a Sunday joint worship service here that was attended by 202 people who filled this sanctuary. Of course, we can't count on receiving such grants in the future if we want to bring such outstanding presenters to Cincinnati. That word was can't. We can't count on that. The UU Council is a member of the Metropolitan Area Religious Coalition of Cincinnati, also known as MARC, and we support MARC in its championing of local solutions for major social concerns that we participate in choosing. The current social concerns are homelessness and affordable housing, and gun violence, intervention, and prevention. The UU Council of Greater Cincinnati has also encouraged and supported the founding of a blue, BLUU, or Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, Haven group here in Cincinnati, one of the few such organizations in the country. Please be generous today in supporting the UU Council of Greater Cincinnati, the organization that represents all local Unitarian Universalists.
dream of dreams really do come true. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dare to, oh why can't I? Well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue, and I see clouds of white, and the brightness of day. I like the dark, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, up high, and the dreams that you dare to, oh why can't I?
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, thank you for coming, everyone, and on Zoom. You see before you the three parish ministers of Unitarian Universalist churches in Cincinnati. We decided to open the floor, so to speak, up to some questions for our presentation today, and we met on Thursday. We received more than 24 questions. We have less than 24 minutes, so what we did was whittle it down, and anyone whose question is not getting answered this morning, just corner one of us or three of us if you are lucky enough to do so. I'll hop right in here. The first question: where do you find your best ideas for sermons, and have you ever had a time when you had no idea for a sermon topic? For the second question, we do things like this when we have no idea for a sermon topic, or when three people can't agree. So way back in another century, when I was in seminary, I had a mentor who talked about the homiletic eye. So the homiletic eye is looking at the world for sermons, essentially. And so they come to me anyway, and they have over the years. It's usually a word or a phrase or an image or a visual image, but the universe kind of provides. I've not really had a lot of trouble coming up with ideas. So they didn't practice this, obviously.
Well, no, we don't have an order, right? So
Right.
whoever answers the question first, the other two are optional footnotes. That's what's going on here. So, is there ever been a time where I didn't know what I wanted to do? Pretty much every time I have to sit down and meet a newsletter deadline, I'm like, I got to come up with stuff to say on a Sunday morning. This is how I feed my family. So, but it's really organic for me. It's a combination of my own personal spiritual journey. It's a combination of what's going on in the culture at large, and it's a combination of the congregation that I serve. Probably the best piece of preaching advice I ever got was my mentor when I was a mentee in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Ken Pfeiffer once said to me, preaching is congregation specific. Mm-hmm. So a lot of what informs my preaching is the congregation, but my own journey in the culture at large, and I think that's pretty much. There have been Sunday mornings where I've gotten up and I don't like this sermon, and I'll sit down for half an hour like I'm going to do something different. On a rare occasion, folks get that, but my preaching style, nobody really knows when that happens anyway. So
I've also had a few times, rare in my decade or so, that I've thrown out a sermon. Never Sunday morning. I can handle that, but Saturday sometimes, and just start it over. Usually because something has happened in the world that I have to respond to. I get a lot of ideas from fiction. I think fiction offers a lot of opportunities for us to examine who we are as humans and how we respond to things in the world. So I get a lot of ideas. That's my excuse for watching Doctor Who and Star Trek all the time. But also just from the ways people relate to each other, how I see things happen out in the world, things my kiddo does, and what my congregation needs. I'm an interim minister, and so I've been in a lot of congregations and can spot usually what my congregation might need to hear or learn about that's related to them specifically. A lot recently has been related to them and the world. And I've absolutely had times when I had no idea, usually when I'm doing the long arc of planning. And sometimes I reach out to colleagues. I'm in contact with a lot of colleagues and say, hey, what are you preaching about related to this theme or that theme? And get ideas from them as well.
So the next question is, what is the purpose of God? I didn't anticipate chuckles on that. That's interesting. Okay. Now I'm trembling that this one fell to me. I don't know if I should. And that is, what role or practical function does God play in a person's life? This is a very Unitarian Universalist question. It's like, if God doesn't play an identifiable practical purpose, I don't think I need to fill space in my closet with God. We'll just throw that one out and make room for something more practical, like a microscope or a computer or such. When we ask the question of God, I think the question of God's purpose, or what role does God play, is a very human-centric way of thinking about God. And the notion that we are able to determine the purpose or the function of God in our life, given our incredibly small egos and the limitations of our minds, I think is a misplaced notion. If you spend any time looking at the images from the James Webb Space Telescope that can see billions of years into history, and if you spend any time looking at the molecular machines that are taking place within every cell of our body every moment to keep us alive, I think you can only conclude that the intelligence of God far surpasses our ability to understand God. This universe is utterly awe-inspiring. So I dispensed a long time ago with the notion that I need to comprehend God or understand God's purpose in order to know that there's a God. So to me, I take a less practical or pragmatic approach, a less utilitarian approach to the question of God. For me, it's a very personal question, and in the way I wrap my mind around it, and then I'll let the other two footnote this. If you look back over the history of the world's great religious traditions, within every tradition there was a contemplative or a mystical stream. And across the world, all of these contemplative or mystical streams discovered that the journey toward the divine was an inward turn of awareness, and the exploration was internal. And they all had their different mechanisms or means by which they would do this exploration, but they all came back and reported there is a divine element within us that we can realize within ourselves, and in that same realization, we realize that there is a God presence that upholds the universe and animates all of us. And so the question arises in today's STEM world, are all those contemplatives and mystics and all those different world religions passing on a legacy of lies to us? Or is there something very genuine and real in what they report? And in my own experience, I have a long-standing spiritual study and practice. I believe that I have, following that path, discovered for myself the reality that God is real in the world. But it's not something we can take and hand to anybody else. It's a self-imposed journey. So the purpose of God? The life force that animates all that is, and when we can tap that life force within us and learn to live from that place, we become, in the language folks at First Church here will understand, we become better scoundrels than we were before we had the experience of finding the divine within. That's my short answer. That's a short answer.
Really?
That's a short answer, brother.
And I see you got scoundrels in even before we get to that.
I know. Well, I'm greasing the skids for that word.
Yes. All right. As a footnote, and as the person who got assigned the job of being timekeeper, I'm going to give a very quick personal answer to this. To me, the purpose of the idea of God, which I'm sort of reading that into the question, the purpose of the idea of God or of something beyond ourselves, bigger than ourselves, more enmeshed in all than ourselves, is a little humility, is to remind ourselves that we are not the end-all be-all.
Yeah, I like that. One of the things I really like about the question box sermon is that I think it exemplifies Unitarian Universalism. We offer a lot of questions, but even ministers don't offer a great deal of answers, like about those big questions. What is God? Does God exist? And I know that wasn't exactly the question. I got asked that when in my ministerial formation process by one of the groups, the regional subcommittee, which doesn't exist anymore. And I told them that what I believe about God is that there is something that connects human beings, like the interdependent web, something that is greater than us or between us, that connects us to one another and connects us to life. And some people call that God. Some people call it mystery. Like, I believe that there is something greater than individual human beings, than my own individual needs as a person. And it helps to have some sort of label to remind us that it exists. Some kind of guide to pull us out of just that internal self possession of our own needs. So not the opposite of what Reverend Riegel was saying, but like that selfishness that we have to meet our own needs. And it's an invitation out to examine the idea that other people matter, other life matters too, and that we are connected. So that's my thought. Oh, I'm next. Yes, so this question came from somebody at first, so the scoundrel word is, and I'm just going to read it as it was given. Sometimes I get really sick and tired of myself. How do you suggest asking ourselves for forgiveness for being the scoundrels that we are and getting out of our own way to move forward? So, we talk now about the values of Unitarian Universalism and the idea that love is at the center. And I think that's an opportunity, because we can get so down on ourselves and so full of guilt and shame for how we have behaved, that when you're so full of shame, at least I know for me, when I'm feeling shamed about something, I tend to want to avoid it. And I don't face it, and I don't figure out how to repair a relationship or to make up for something that I did and move forward and learn from it. And I think that invitation to put love at the center is an invitation to recognize that even you are worthy of love. To talk about it in the principles, the inherent worth and dignity of every person means yourself as well. And so that's important to remember as you navigate things you've done that you wish you hadn't.
Exactly. I will only add, shame is a very powerful emotion. It's a very motivating emotion in that it affects a lot of what we do and what other people around us experience from us. And it is, it comes from a wounded part of ourselves. Knowing that there is a wounded part of ourselves, but that part is not the entirety of ourselves, and that there are other parts of ourselves that can love that and comfort and try to help heal that wounded part of ourselves. Amen. I like the idea of the inherent worth and dignity also applies to each of us.
So the word scoundrel is a word I introduced at First Church when I came here. So it's not a negative term. It's a term of endearment when I use it. And folks here will often toss out the word, as they struggle to understand. Being human is hard. Mm-hmm. Being human is hard. And we all sort of get tossed into this life experience with no say in the matter as far as we know. And we have to struggle to become human beings in a very complex, challenging environment. And so over the course of our lives, between our biological growth and our experience of other human beings, we kind of reach the mid-20s, 30 years old, and find that like we have a set way of being in the world, we're conditioned. But nobody that I know has been conditioned in a way that makes them a saint. We all have our stuff because being human is hard. And I talk about us being scoundrels because none of us are to blame for how we become conditioned. We are, once we realize, and here's your wake-up moment, once you realize you're a scoundrel and you're not to blame for being conditioned, you are now responsible for the scoundrel you become for the rest of your days. And so what I say to people is, just remember, nobody's to blame for who they are. We're all scoundrels. So go easy on one another, and especially go easy on you.
I love this next two-word question. Why pray? Now, there's a lot of ways you can interpret this question, but I'm going to interpret it on face value. Why pray? In other words, like, what was the purpose of God? What is the purpose of prayer? We pray in many different ways. These are words that may or may not have baggage for some people. But I pray with my body and my spirit. I do yoga every day. Yoga, the word means union with that which is bigger than me. Religion, the word religion means to re-link or rebind with that which is bigger than me. So to me, prayer serves the same purpose as I said about God, really. It is about connecting with that which is bigger than me. And again, the purpose of connecting with something larger than me is to keep me in my place, if to put it bluntly, to remind me that I am not the center of the universe, that there is a universe, and that I can through practices, whether they involve words, whether they involve movement, whether they involve singing or meditation or whatever, breathing, those I can connect with that which is bigger than myself. And that is the essence of my spiritual practice.
I do a lot of movement-based prayer as well. I think that prayer offers an opportunity for grounding and connecting and just reminding yourself to slow down and notice the world around you. That doesn't require belief in a God. Like, I think you can pray even if you don't believe in God and still find value in that slowing, grounding, connecting.
I do pray in the traditional sense of the term. And the reason is, this is kind of a footnote to what I said earlier when I took more minutes than I should have about my understanding of God. And I believe I have come to discover in my spiritual practices that there is an encounter within, that God is the author of this creation, God is the animating life force, and when you can find a channel to it within yourself, there is a relationship there to be had. I don't think God created the universe with the intention of never knocking on our door, and we don't knock on God's door enough. And I find prayer meaningful, and I actually find it effective, and I find it responsive. That's why I pray. All right, so sometimes it feels like we sing about truth but hesitate to talk about it directly, especially when it's complicated or uncomfortable. I'm going to read the footnote to this question. Unitarian Universalism calls us to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, welcoming skeptics, atheists, humanists alongside theists and mystics. Yet in practice, I've noticed that services and discussions often emphasize emotional resonance, communal affirmation, and spiritual comfort while offering few opportunities for rigorous questioning, secular inquiry, or critical reflection. How can UUs live more fully into its promise of being not only emotionally affirming, but also intellectually curious and courageous? How can we ensure that our community is not only warm and welcoming, but also willing to explore hard questions, even when they challenge our assumptions or self-image? I'm wondering, are we nourishing the mind as fully as we are nurturing the heart? So when I became a Unitarian Universalist, you could have inverted this question. You used to hear things like, we are the thinking person's religion, and sermons are like a college lecture. And all we ever do is debate and critique one another's manner of thinking, and we're determined for somebody to figure out and get it right. And there was almost never any emphasis on emotional experience or communal experience on a Sunday morning. So it's fascinating to me that this question has come forward. It tells me how much things have changed over the course of my life as a Unitarian Universalist minister. So I would say that for myself, I have really changed the way I approach Sunday mornings. I used to be the college professor kind of lecturer, And if you ask some people, they'll tell you, you still kind of are. Well, you should have seen me before, my beloveds. Because what I'm trying to do with the pulpit now is convey something not quantitative through the linear mind, but qualitative through an experience of the heart. Because I believe that it is through the heart that we change what it feels like to live in our own skin. And I think first and foremost, religion ought to be something that helps us live better in our own skin. And so I now have that focus of my Sunday mornings, and I try to direct the kind of inquiry this person's asking about into things like the adult education program and whatnot, where, like next year we'll be reading some Socrates and some William Ellery Channing, and we'll have lots of opportunities for intellectual exploration. But for me now, Sunday mornings is really about, it's really about the heart. It's what it's really about.
I'm looking at the clock.
We're good.
And I'm
We're gonna
thinking
be
to
okay.
myself that, again, when I came up, a generation before you,
Thank you for that
it
one.
would seem,
I'll take that.
I felt like I was swimming against the stream because the Orthodox Unitarian Universalism was, as you described, very intellectual, very skeptical, very debate-oriented, and so on. Swimming against the stream, I eventually found a congregation that the water flowed the same way as me, and it's been a very comfortable rafting experience after that. But I like your distinction between Sunday morning communal worship and other aspects and times during the week of where intellectual inquiry and more rigorous search for truth and meaning can take place. Yeah. Do you want this?
Oh,
You don't need it.
yeah, I don't need that microphone. I strive for a balance, leaning toward, I feel like sermons and services are different than TED Talks and college lectures. So I'm striving for a balance to meet the needs of the spirit of the person, and also provide something to think about and to chew on. I know I don't always hit it by any means, but that's what I aim for. But if I have to choose, I'm going for the spirit over the intellectual inquiry for people.
Do we have time to go into this next question?
Bill told me a secret when we were whispering over here during the service. Heritage often goes past an hour, so in honor...
Heritage never goes at or less an hour.
Never past 3 p.m. So, but we really want to take a little more time to answer a couple more questions and then sing. And if you need to go, and if you need coffee, it's probably brewing, but if you can give us another 10 or 15 minutes to close the service, that'd be great.
And maybe this next question will wake you up and you won't need coffee.
We have
There
two
you go.
At least right now.
questions.
Oh,
we
is
have
it
two
the
next
questions
question?
left.
Oh, it's that
helps.
one. Okay,
So-
yeah, this will wake you up.
Why is there no serious discussion among the local UU congregations about possible mergers? Do you... Now, on Zoom, you guys don't do Zoom, YouTube, right?
Oh, YouTube,
On
yeah.
YouTube, people probably did not hear the groan that emitted when I read that question. Do you think such discussions should be happening? Why or why not? There is obviously strength in unity. So I, for one, I love that Cincinnati has actually 5 different Unitarian Universalist churches. 6 if you are counting Oxford, right? Okay, if you draw the circle to include Oxford, the UU Council has 6 congregations, right? And each of those is very unique and distinct and has its own culture. And what a rich resource we have in this metropolitan area with these differently presenting and differently feeling congregations that are all Unitarian Universalist, all the one's name is Universalist Unitarian. There are people that drive from Westchester and uptown and so on to Heritage. There are people from the east side who drive right here or to St. John's. There are former members of one church at the other and vice versa. I just feel like so much would be lost if we did not offer to the community the variety of religious experiences that our churches offer, because they do have very different cultures, and I think merging would be difficult. And I come from the church that voted against the merger in 1961, so there. Who's next? We also did not plan who was going to tackle this next.
I have some similar feelings. I've been in interim for a decade-ish, and seen congregations in a lot of different areas of the country. It is unusual for the Midwest to have this many congregations in such close proximity to each other. And St. John's and First and Heritage have extremely different flavors to them. And there's value in that, there's beauty in that. And like Bill, I think that they offer different things to the community. I know there are advantages to the idea of a merger, but we would have to be cautious about what would be lost. Yeah, there's beauty in these congregations, and that instead of having to travel to a place like Boston where there's like 10 congregations in 10 miles, you have something like that here in Cincinnati.
I also just want to point out, look at the three of us.
Right. I thought about that too.
Look how we are attired. And there you have it.
It is such a rare experience for me to feel like the optimist in a group.
Go for it.
But like Jennifer mentioned, in New England, there's a Unitarian church. If you throw a stone, you hit another Unitarian church. And there's a history of churches merging there. And it doesn't always or usually even work out well, because you have to face difficult questions. And one of the more difficult questions is, who sells the building and drives to the other building? This is a huge question, the question of capital. And the other question is, we have our beloved traditions and our own identity. And that's often a problem to commingle that successfully. And so mergers don't always work out so well, but I want to be a visionary for a moment. Let's imagine a congregation of 500 people. Not that we have to merge all the UU communities in Cincy, but a congregation of 500 people with double services and not one but two ministers and a full-time lifespan faith development religious education person with a really meaningful, ongoing, compelling religious education program for children and adults, and a fierce social justice committee that shows up en masse in force as a force in the community. And imagine Sunday mornings being like this twice. I think that vision's a beautiful one, and I'm certainly not one who's going to lead a charge to merge, but you guys are a stone's throw away, Jennifer. I'm just saying.
Yes, yeah.
We could grab coffee, walk to St. John's, and still be working on the same cup of coffee. I'm just putting it out there. But so it's very difficult for all the reasons that have been mentioned. But I actually think if you wanted to really, if you want to be fair, think also about what's possible after the fact. It's compelling to me. Yeah. Hey, don't give me that. You can only give me that eye for like, what, 3 more weeks? And then
I'm only 2 more weeks. I'm only giving you that eye because
all right.
I'm trying to decide whether we have another question.
We have time. We're going to roll with it.
One more. Bill is looking forward to his retirement at the end of this month. For those of you who don't know what that exchange was. So this is a double question. We can focus on either or both. What is the hardest task in our UU congregations today? And we combined it with another question. How can we keep our focus on our UU values, including love, in the midst of so many things happening that make us angry? This is the last question we were going to talk about. So the hardest task, my first thought was like finances and finding ministers, but that was a very practical, concrete approach. I do think the hardest task and the focus on our UU values is the same. It's navigating the changes. Like, how do we navigate the changes, and how do we navigate what's going on in the world today, where rights are being stripped away from people in increasing numbers, people are being intentionally made fearful to move about in the world, and how do we keep that from just destroying us, destroying our spirit? And the answer is holding love at the center and finding ways to challenge it. I always, when I was an early minister, I would often get a question challenging that idea of the first principle of the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And somebody inevitably would say, even Hitler. And I would say, yes, because to love someone, to love yourself and to love someone means that you step forward to stop them from harming others, from harming themselves. You intervene to stop injustice, even for care of the perpetrator of that injustice. Does that make sense? Like, love calls us to change the world for the better. And care for people who cause harm calls us to stop them from being able to cause more harm. So that's my answer.
I feel like we collectively, I think this is true at any Unitarian Universalist congregation wherever you are right now. The most difficult thing is maintaining hope, or if it's lost, regaining hope. Nurturing hope in a community that is focused on love, that is social justice oriented, that sees all the horrific things going on in our world and wants desperately to impact those positively. And finding little victories, finding sustenance and strength, spiritual and otherwise, in our communities as sanctuaries of love and hope, first to go out and then to go out into the world. So there's the the oxygen mask dropping in the plane analogy. So we have to make sure that we are breathing before we can put that mask on someone else. And that breath of life, that oxygen, that spirit is hope.
Amen.
Yeah, similar resonance with our greatest challenge. So the focus of my ministry is the path of the heart and love. And I listen to Unitarian Universalists talk an awful lot about the value of love. And I hear the phrase unconditional love a lot. And here's what I think it means. I mean, again, I've been doing this a long time. I watched the rise of women in our association because women were not being loved and included enough. I watched the intentional decades-long effort to include the LGBTQ+ folks into our communities because they were being marginalized and not loved enough, and the trans community and the immigrant community. And we are really good at loving those who certain others don't want to love. We're great at that. But here's the challenge that I think we're failing to recognize or at least meet. If we really mean love, we have to learn to love those who don't love those that we have come to love. That's unconditional love. And I push this congregation a lot in that direction because here's what I believe. We need to transform this society, do we not? It happens heart to heart, folks. It only happens heart to heart. You may win battles with other strategies, but if you don't win hearts, you're not loving. So whether you're talking about theology or social action, whatever, it's always heart to heart. And we have to remember that. Somebody said to me not too long ago, well, would you want a MAGA person sitting in your sanctuary? Are you that serious about including? Like, yes, I would. And this person looked at me like, why would you want a MAGA person in your sanctuary? Well, let's presume that person's going to church somewhere. Do you want that person listening to a MAGA preacher? Or do you want that person listening to me and experiencing beloved community with us demonstrating what love really looks like, with the hope that you might begin to change a heart? So we have to up our game when it comes to unconditional love and include everybody and realize the strategy isn't force against force, but heart to heart. Yeah. Is that our last question?
That was.
Beautiful. That's a great segue to our last hymn. All right. So I'm just going to take a minute to teach you all this last hymn, only a minute or two. I apologize ahead of time for my voice. This is not one of the gifts that the good Lord gave me, but it's good enough. So this is a song I introduced to First Church when I came here. It's a song that is often used in Sufi circles, and it's typically sung as a response. Can we get the words up on the PowerPoint? So repeat after me as best you can. You'll probably get it better than me, even though you don't know it. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you again. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Wonderful, okay? The Arabic, this is Arabic, Ishq Allah, Ma'abud Lillah. Ishq Allah means God is love. Ma'abud Lillah means God is worthy of our love. Ishq Allah Ma'abud Lillah, Ishq Allah Ma'abud Lillah. So let's just do the whole thing together a couple of times. All I ask of you is forever to remember me. Repeat that. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. The Arabic. Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah. Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah. They've got it. All right. So here's how we do it. We stand up. This side will sing, all I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you, and then go quiet. This side sings it back. This side sings Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah, and this side sings back Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah. Let's do it like 4 times and sing from your hearts. And what we like to do, unless you need to see the screen, is look at each other. There's a screen here, there's a screen here. And for those of you who know it well enough, try to make eye contact with the scoundrel across from you. All right, this side first. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah, Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah, Ishq Allah ma'bud. One more time. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah, Ishkala Mahabudlila. Please be seated.
May we go into our week asking questions of one another, seeking not necessarily to get final answers, but to explore life together. Go in peace, go in love. Blessed be.
All right, darlings, it's party time. When the night has come and the land is dark, and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, no, I won't shed a tear. I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by us. Stand by us. Whenever we're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it.